ever. Having trouble connecting. Oh, no trouble connecting. Kalimera, kalispera, kalinikta. No matter where in this weird and wonderful world you might be. Thank you for making the Highbury Squad part of your post-game show day. How about them apples, Gunners? We win again. Da, 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 da. Bee Gees, baby. Let's go.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
From the stormy weather in California to the unicorn sunny life in Florida and, of course, chilling somewhere in London. Welcome to the post-game show here at Highbury Squad Central with myself, with Magic Mike, and James Johnstone, who would do anything for love. Hello. Yeah. Let's go. Because I'm about out of hell. Listen, it's all happening today. I'm wearing a silly tiger hat. Mike's in the pool. And James, you need to get that dog back. Where's Cody?
She's in the other room, I believe. She's got other company, so she probably don't want to be.
Aye. Doggy date.
No, my brother lives here as well, doesn't he? So she'll bothering him.
Yeah, we love your brother. We want your brother to make a jingle for the Highbury Squad. That's what we want.
I'll ask him.
Does he do jingles? I mean, like, is his professionalism, does it reach the point of doing jingles for the Highbury Squad?
I think
it doesn't, but he's a nice man, so he probably would say yes.
I think, hold the line. I told you I'm doing a show. Stop calling me. We can talk about the game after, unless you want to come on the show and have a chat with us. Super Kev will be here in a minute. Okay. Well done. Bye-bye. That's my cousin George telling me that
he's
run out.
Cousin George.
I thought that was Josh Kroenke.
No, I would have said be excited. Right. Look at us losing our manners when Super Kev isn't here. At ease, squaddies. At ease. Good evening to all the usual suspects in the house. MK, who was going to be on the show yesterday, but the storms in California have caused absolute chaos. Ask Magic. I wasn't sure if we were even going to be able to broadcast, so I had him on deck to present with James. And then I got my internet back. Then Magic Mike lost his internet. Apparently the BBC website has crashed. It's all happening. It's all happening. Look, Taib, you keep asking for Super Kev. You're not going to want to see him when he gets into the room in just a little bit here. He saw what you said yesterday, mate. You're in trouble. You're in big trouble. We won! Woo!
Did that not feel like the least comfortable 3-0 win that you've ever had, given that the score was 1-0? And I mean,
it was crazy.
I don't want to steal the look, you're the host, but
no. I mean, it felt like the last 12 minutes. I text you both, and you had uncomfortable feelings for different reasons. James couldn't get out from under the dog, and you were just pacing in the pool, and I was pacing in my living room. Good evening from Amsterdam. Hello, Matthew. Dublin Guna is here. We got our chief like officer in the house. Make sure you hit those likes on the way in. Brady's Banana is here, of course. Taib and Trouble is here. Yanto is here. We didn't get Rob. We won in the end, mate. Don't worry about it. Let's see. Who else is in the house here? We've got Vorti. We have got everyone. Everyone's here. We've got Mark, who probably love to be in the pool eating Turkish kebabs right now with Magic Mike.
The invite's open. I mean, it's pretty much open to any squaddie that wants to. So
we have Carol. Look, I'm not wasting time at all in the intro. It's 4 minutes. We haven't talked about anything. Super Kev's going to be here in a minute. So it's like there's so much to look forward to. We got Liz in the house. We have to pay homage to all the squaddies. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening. Good morning, wherever. I don't know what time of day it is for you. All I know is there's a storm outside. The clouds are black in California, but the sun is shining, James, over the Arsenal Football Club. What do you make of that?
Oh, thank God. Like I said, towards the end, I don't know what it is. As soon as they bring Vardy on, there's a part of you that goes, oh, not this guy, not this bloody guy. And
I mean, he's 50 at this point. Like, I mean, he's older than I am at this point. I mean, when can we stop being afraid of the guy?
It's not as bad as. Did you remember Shane Long? Like Shane Long used to.
Oh, yeah.
He used to come out of the Federal Witness Protection Program for one game a year to play Arsenal. You'd be like, where has this guy? But like, it was like Southampton just gave him a contract, just be like in his contract, one game Arsenal. It's like, okay, yep, deal, I'll sign it. Yeah, it's just And then he was an absolute, pain. I'll be pleasant. I'll save your AdSense. He was a pain when he come on,
Yes,
as he normally is. And do you know what? I try my best. I try my best as I can not to moan about the officials or the external officials, because I don't go down that David Icke route that it's a conspiracy against us and everything. The refs are all lizards.
Because it is.
But for me, today, I can't, because it's not just our game as well. Obviously, when you're watching, they show the stuff from the other matches. And there's a few teams today that have been robbed. And it all, at the end of the day, if it doesn't go the way for your club like it did today, that could be the difference between, staying up, getting into Europe, winning a title, all these silly decisions. I mean, if apologies count for points, we'd have won the league by now.
Yeah,
we'd be 6 or 7 apologies clear, wouldn't we? So,
definitely.
Who did you have on commentary today? Because obviously we have Peacock here in the States, as Sophie knows, and I was actually thrilled. We had Alan Smith.
Yeah, Smudger.
I've missed Smudgy.
Yeah. Okay, so
you had him too.
Do you guys think that the Ben White hold was that should have been a goal?
Yeah, I mean, is it a 50-50? Is it a half? 6 of one, half a dozen of another? Is their keeper wrapping himself around Ben White, or is Ben White wrapping himself around him, or is it really just kind of the stuff that happens on a corner kick? It seems to me again like they're looking for ways to rule out the goal, and they found one, rather than, oh my God, there was this blatant thing that occurred that should have never let the passage of play on to where Trossard ends up getting that shot. When you go looking for things instead of checking on something that was so clear and obvious and missed by the referee, to me, I watched it 2 or 3 times. I really couldn't see what the big deal was.
For me, if that's a foul,
then Saka's got to be.
Yeah. Then how is that not a penalty? How is the Saka one not a penalty? And I sent you the tweet from Hugh, Sophie, the Douglas Luiz earlier in the season. The player, I think it was Kamara. He's like that around Ramsdale. Like, he's basically hugging the guy. I mean, if I was near Ramsdale, I'd probably hug him at the moment. The way I love him that much. But it's crazy. It's crazy. It's like Mike's just said. They pick and choose per week what these rules are and how these rules are applied. And then again, like Mike says, how far of a phase of play are we going to keep going back? Because I'm like, okay, your arms are. I can see their arms are linked there, and you're thinking, Ben, holding before the ball's in the air, maybe we get away with that. But he's still carried on a bit. He's still holding him, and they're jostling or whatever.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about it that way. Like if that is a foul, I mean, how long are you going to scroll it back to say, okay, well, the whistle should have blown there? I mean, it wasn't like that foul led to someone at the far post tapping it in because the keeper wasn't able to do it. It was punched out. It was then passed out. To me, that's the part I didn't even think about at the time, was that maybe the passage of play should have been considered different. Super
Kevin Campbell.
Kev doesn't need props like
so James, everybody. 1-0 to the Arsenal. At ease. Come on.
The Junicorn is saluting you,
Super Kev. In my absence? Everything's turning crazy.
Kev, we've lost the internet. The BBC's melted down. We're here. Thank you for joining us. We know you were working the game and just did a bit of a post-game stint. Super Kev is in the building, everyone. He is in the building. I'm loving the burgundy shirt. You're looking so fine as the Arsenal this afternoon, Super Kev. Talk to me about that.
Typical game of 2 halves, Soph, wasn't it? First half, so dominant. What a finish by Trossard. Thought it was 1-0 up. Referee Salisbury was in the VAR. And God, he's got so many things wrong, but he spotted something that is a coming together. They've given it. But the key is, like we keep saying, Sophie, we cannot let it affect us. We have to get past it and through it in whatever way we can. Could it come back to bite us? Of course it could. But you know what? The team kept going, scored early, and then it became a little bit uncomfortable because Leicester made changes. They started to commit people forward, and it makes us feel a bit uncomfortable. But do you know what I'm really pleased about, Soph? A clean sheet. At the back, we were starting to get a little bit loose. And we keep saying, give us a 1-0. We'll take a 1-0 to the Arsenal. Today, we got a clean sheet. We win the game. And you know what? All the pressure's on City now. All the pressure. And I know it's only Bournemouth, but football's a funny old game.
It's only Forest last week.
Yeah, they've had some dodgy results, so anything can happen this afternoon. Okay, I'm going to ask you guys some quick questions before we go player to player, because yesterday on the show, Super Kev, James was on the show, Mike wasn't, but Tammy Steels, our chief like officer, was demanding actually that Trossard start up front. And James was, Josh was like, no, you don't want Trossard starting up front. Absolutely no way. He put all his cards on the table, didn't he, James? He's like, and then Tammy
Mr.
came
Brighton.
back and Mr. Brighton. Yeah, Mr. Brighton was back. And Tammy was saying that didn't he score a hat trick? Was it against City or Liverpool? Liverpool playing up front, and Josh was not having it.
He did play wide that game. Well,
by the way, Josh, when I went to see Brighton Liverpool down in Brighton a couple months ago, we were joined by the lovely Josh. We watched the game. We talked about Trossard because it was right during the January transfer window when we were linked with him. And he couldn't have been more negative about Trossard playing for Arsenal as being a good fit. You know, I don't know what it was.
He wasn't alluding to that. He wasn't alluding to that yesterday.
Well, no, I was I was all hyped up about Trossard coming as an alternative to Mudryk, as a much cheaper alternative, a Premier League ready alternative early in the transfer window, and then he talks me out of it. And then when we were getting ready to sign him, I talked myself back into it again because, I don't know what the reason was. Josh is normally very in tune with tactics and with players and stuff. I mean, he's a smart guy, and he's a lot younger and more handsome than I am.
But Magic, you know what that says? Do you know what this all says? Tammy knows her stuff. That's what it tells you.
Tammy knows her stuff. And I should have trusted.
You know your stuff, lady.
I should have trusted my instincts because, man, has this guy been a good signing? And I wanted to see him up top today as well. I think Eddie Nketiah's, his work rate you can't fault, but I think maybe the last couple of games have been
he's frozen in time. The pool, as long as he doesn't get electrocuted. So, Kev, talk me through that a little bit in terms of what he did differently up front today. False nine role. I mean, they were making Leicester dizzy in the first half, Kev. Even Ben White was going to the left at one point. I
think Trossard is more of a link player than Eddie because Eddie wants to get in. Mm-hmm. He needs people to play him in. So it's not his natural game to really link play. As you saw Trossard a lot of the time, from centre forward, he then ends up on the left. He could move out to the left and then Martinelli could switch. That's who does that perfectly. That's what Jesus does. Jesus starts in the centre and then could drift out. Trossard naturally drifts out as well. And they could interchange, etc. i.e. the goal. They swap roles. Trossard picked the ball up out wide, drew Big Harry Suter out. And what does he do? Clever player, puts it through his legs for Martinelli running through directly on goal. And wasn't that just like a Thierry Henry finish? You know, where he opens his body and slides it in? That was Thierry Henry-esque. We take it. We take the 1-0. It's good to see Martinelli back. He scored last week. He comes into the team again, plays with Trossard and gets another goal, gets the winner. This is what we want to see, Gooners. It's us against the world. I'm telling you. Nobody wants us to go through. They chalk 2 goals off, etc. But we still get the job done.
So, Super Kev, do you admit that maybe you were wrong about Eddie on the show earlier this week?
How was I wrong?
Muzz is asking, just throwing it out
No, I'm saying, how was I wrong? How was I wrong?
Well, you said that he had to start and that we shouldn't shift Trossard or Martinelli in that position because he was still offering, he was still playing well for the team.
Can I just say what I said then? Because all of a sudden he shouldn't. It's amazing what happens when I'm not here. Magic.
Kev, can I just defend you as well? You didn't know that you didn't know he rolled his ankle this week. So let's just throw that out there first and foremost.
He didn't
start because he had an ankle. Yeah, but he had an ankle. You didn't know that when you said it.
Yeah, but James, it was way
Objection,
before
Your Honour.
But it doesn't matter. Here's the key. The question was Eddie doing a good enough job in the team? And I said, yes, he is, because we're still at the top of the league. When Jesus went down, yeah, he's missed chances, but that's a striker's lot. At the end of the day, the manager, he's got all these players to choose from. He can choose who he wants. That was the question. So was Eddie doing a good enough job? And I thought he'd played pretty well. But that don't mean he can't change it.
Yeah. Boys,
so
he did say he loves you. He goes, love you. So this
was
his response.
I
love you.
Listen, I love all the squaddies. I've got to say, I even love Taib. When I get you, Taib, I'm telling you. When I get you, I'm telling you that.
Brilliant stuff. All right. So, James, why don't we start going through the squad, and then that will evolve our dialogue and our conversation into kind of, how we played. And I loved the setup. I got to say, at the beginning, I got very excited about the starting 11. I loved that Mikel Arteta was brave enough to mix it up. Away at Leicester, we generally do pretty well, James. How about our goalkeeper? Do you want to start there, James? Take us through the team after that.
Ramsdale for me, considering the game that he had last season where he was so busy, not only with just the fans, but in terms of the output. I mean, Maddison being injured, you sort of had a bit of a smile on your face, didn't you? When you read that this morning, you're a bit like, okay, that's a bit of a relief that he's not there, because he's been bang on form as well. He's been top player for them. So, but yeah, today for me, it's hard to say rating to give him a number, because I didn't feel like he had much to do. Okay, they had a few chances, but it was chances where, when the ball come across, the player just missed. Do you know what I mean? So he didn't really get tested. It was more so that they got the space out wide and crossed it across. So, but no, Ramsdale's Ramsdale, isn't he? You've got to love him.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't really have much to do today for me, Kev. I thought, and I love the clean sheet, like you said, Super Kev. It has been I can't remember the last game we played where we got a clean sheet. Does anyone remember? It was before Newcastle, no? Anyway, someone in the Squaddy Nation will let us know that. But Super Kev, Ramsdale for you?
Ramsdale, listen, getting a clean sheet is like a hat trick for the defense. So we're gonna give him a 7 just to start with. I thought a lot of the time the balls came back. He dealt with them pretty well. He didn't. You know what we mentioned about Ramsdale? Sometimes we don't need him to be spectacular. We just need him to do his job. He done his job today. No mistakes, nothing. We love that. And I'm going to give him 7.5. I'm going to give Rambo 7.5.
Cool. And James, I think you've discovered where our last clean sheet was, and it was a while ago against...
Yeah, it was the Spurs away. MK's put it in there as well. Yeah, Spurs away.
Okay, there we go. MK as well. Thank you, guys. And Magic Mike, a quick mark for you for Ramsdale. Very quick. He's frozen in time again. Next, who's up next, James?
He's just lost for words. He can't describe the performance. He's just
It's that poor water.
I'll go Ben White. Ben White for me. I'm gonna give him a 6.5. Again, not very much to do. Didn't really advance play out there for me today. Didn't link up as well as normal. But I think when Saka sort of has a somewhat quiet game, so does Ben White, because Ben White feeds that guy a lot. So, yeah, I can't really lay into him today for anything. Can't lay into any of them, really. So, yeah, but 6.5 for Ben for me.
James, no, don't forget, when you get a clean sheet, it starts at 7. So don't give me those 6.
Okay, 7 then. He gets a 7. Okay. Sorry, I didn't know the metrics. So I apologise. Yeah, for the clean sheet, he gets a 7.
Like a hat trick for a defence.
That was great. The clean sheet was lovely. Kev.
Yeah.
What do you think?
You know what? I'm going to mirror what James says a little bit. I think first off, we were so dominant. We didn't actually need Ben White to be that player because Saka was kind of doing what he does. But I thought second half, we needed to dig in a little bit. It was a lot more difficult second half, especially after we scored and they started bringing more players on. The key is we get over the line, and it's part of that defence that has been much maligned of late. So I'll give him a 7, like you, James, definitely.
Yeah, I'll just I agree with you guys. I like the comment about the effectiveness of Saka and White. It just shows you that as a combo, as a unit, they work so well together. And when one's a little off, the other might be too. I think in stark contrast to what was going on the other side of the pitch. But yeah, it gets a 7 for me as well, James. Who's next?
William Saliba. 7.
Love it.
I thought, again, one of his better games since post World Cup. I thought thought he did really well. He was more composed. He felt like he was enjoying the game. I feel like some of the recent games for Saliba, he hasn't maybe been enjoying as much, just because, some of that bad form had kicked in a little bit after he came back from Qatar. But solid today, I thought, and a really encouraging performance to see him kind of back to his, not best, but back to being good, Kev.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to give him a 7.5 so far. I thought he was, everything that he had to deal with, he dealt with. I think that's important. And the more strikers they brought on, the more offensive players they brought on, obviously you've got to have your awareness. You've got to have your awareness about you. So I thought he done well. I'm going to give him a 7.5. I thought at times he was very good on the ball coming out, and his use of the ball was good. So yeah, I'll give him a 7.5.
All right, 7.5 from Super Kev, a 7 from me. And James, did you mention Saliba yet? No, right? We haven't had your mark.
Yeah, I gave him a big 7 at the beginning.
Big 7. Okay, it's Magic. Magic, are you here? Are you frozen? I don't understand what's happening with you.
I think I'm here. I'm so fed up with Comcast right now. I can't even. It's so inconsistent. I apologize for completely ruining your show. And if it happens again, just don't let me back on.
Okay. What's your mark for Saliba?
There you go. He don't want to be involved. He don't want to be involved.
Mike uses the same internet as VAR, doesn't he?
Oh, jeez. Salisbury controls it.
Mixing it up here a little bit. Who's next, James?
Gabriel. Now, exactly what Kev said about Saliba, I'm actually going to do it in reverse. I thought Gabriel was incredible. Some of the headers that he won today, and there were times, when Zinchenko goes into that midfield and it becomes congested, he's so good at reading if that ball comes back out again, the distance and the space. I thought he was immense today, Gabriel. So he's going to get my 7.5. He's who I'm going to give the 7.5 to. I thought he was excellent. And do you know what? The last couple of weeks where Saliba hasn't been on the form that we normally see him in, this guy steps up. And yeah, I was very, very impressed with him.
I think he's just been so good. Ben White was, I think, our best defender for the first part of the season and since the World Cup. and his disappointment being left out of the Brazil squad. This fella has been absolutely sensational, mature, just got on with his job. He's just been a huge influence at the back. You can see he has that leadership ability about him as well. Just loved everything he did today. For me, Magalhaes gets a nice fat 8. Super Kev.
Well, I'm going to step it up even more, Soph, because you know what? I honestly think Gabriel is really, really the linchpin of that defense. We mentioned it before. Saliba's going to need him. First half of the season, we saw he probably needed Saliba at a little bit of time when he was struggling. But you know what? This defense ain't the same without Gabriel in it. And I thought he was outstanding today. Put his body on the line when he needed to. Defended really well. He's so good on the ball as well, as James says. When Zinchenko pushes on, he kind of moves into that left-sided centre-back, left half-back position and plays really well. I'll give him 8.5 today. I thought he was really good.
So I was going to ask you both about that because, especially in the first 15 minutes, I was saying to my cousin, I was like, Zinchenko is literally in the midfield. Like he's not even trying to be inverted. No. So Kev, I was going to ask you and James about how the back adapts to that because, you know, we didn't play that. We played that way for most of the season, but when he was injured, we didn't play that way. And I'm really impressed because we talk about Zinchenko and how well he's doing, but the back has to adapt to how he plays because he's such the nucleus. He's that vortex of everything that Mikel wants to do. So talk to me a little bit more about that because you mentioned Gabriel kind of, you know, pushing in, pushing out. The same thing with Saliba. It's not easy for them, is it? Because they always have to be on their toes in the match.
Well, what we got to understand is whenever Zinchenko then moves into midfield, and you're right, Soph, really good observation. He weren't even going back to fullback. He was just staying in the midfield and operating from there. So what does that do? It's in theory, we're playing 3-4-3. In theory,
right.
3 at the back. We know Ben White could play the third centre half. Saliba sits kind of in the middle, and Gabriel has to move to the left. So he's got 2-3 jobs to do. Gabriel,
right,
and Ben White. One, they've got to act like a fullback a lot of the time because they're the out ball when they move the ball across the back. 2, they've got to make sure they get a good pass in. And 3, they've got to latch onto either a winger or a striker at times when the ball breaks down. And they do that expertly. And that's why I think Gabriel does it better than most. I thought he done that expertly today. And look, there's times where we needed Zinchenko back there second half because we didn't dominate the ball as much as we would like, but we had the lead and you could understand that. So I think these guys understand what is needed. They understand what Zinchenko brings in the midfield. And yeah, if Kieran Tierney plays or Tomiyasu plays, we do want them to move into midfield, but they're nowhere near as comfortable doing it as Zinchenko. So Gabriel has to adjust. He really does have to adjust when Zinchenko plays.
When Zinny's doing his thing,
Yeah. I thought he was outstanding today.
Yeah. James, you call the next one, but here I just don't understand comments like this. How can you be upset that Tierney's on the bench when we're winning and Zinchenko's playing the way he is? I just don't understand.
He probably likes Tierney, Mike. He probably likes Tierney, but let's be honest. You know, I know Zinchenko hasn't. Of the last few games, he hasn't ripped it up, but let's be fair. He does make a difference to the way this team plays and the way we dominate.
But also, guys, he didn't have a really good game against Villa, but his goal kind of was the nucleus of the comeback as well. So yeah. All right, Michael, jump into the next one as well. But James, who do we have up next?
Yeah, well, I was just going to say as well, it says it all that when Zinchenko went off at the end, he brings on Tomiyasu instead of a natural left back. We had this discussion yesterday, Sophie, unfortunately, and I love Kieran Tierney to pieces. But for me, I feel that guy's future's elsewhere. because he's not happy being a second or a third choice. And to be fair, he is good enough to play football somewhere else where he starts every week. So fair play. If he wants to go do that, then let him go do that. It's all about the manager wants to have the control. And unfortunately, with Tierney, he doesn't give you what Tomiyasu. Obviously, when we made that change, he brings Tomiyasu on because he's aerially dominant as well. Because he knows they're going to go over the top and go for Vardy that way, or they're going to try and get Barnes in again to slot it across to Vardy. And it's just all about a control thing. So
it's a tough one because, I mean, you want guys like Tierney in the squad. You want guys like Tierney in the dressing room. You want to be able to keep Tierney in this environment next season and the seasons beyond. But you also can understand why he might want to go elsewhere. I mean, God forbid something happens to Zinchenko and or Ben White and Tomiyasu's needed on the right side. And I mean, how great would it be to be able to plug Tierney in as opposed to someone of the dubious defending quality as a Nuno Tavares or another signing? I mean, you want that. But to be fair, he's been a good servant to the club. He's an incredible, he's done nothing wrong. And if he wants to play and have a chance, I don't know what Scotland's status is in the qualifications for the Euro next summer. I really haven't been tracking that. But if he wants to be a full-time starter for a team, I think he understands he's not going to get that here.
Well, he struggles to start against Scotland because of Robertson, right? But the two of them, they play them as well together sometimes. But Newcastle are tracking him, as we know. I think John Mavrudi's comment here.
If he's going to Newcastle, it's got to be for some
Well, there was talk about 40-50 million last season, but I don't know. But I think this is a really good point from John. It shows you that he can't get on the pitch now. Was one of our best players. And it just shows how we've improved. And I think that's a brilliant comment from John right there. Right, James.
It's always the players, Sophie. It's always the players.
Sophie.
It's
all the manager. Players, I love it. So when we win the league, Arteta should get no credit because it's the players.
No, it's just the players.
I can't wait for that moment.
Sophie, if Arsenal win the title, you could give credit wherever you want. It don't matter.
I'll give credit to Mustafi. I don't care. James, did I make you spit, Mike?
I was able to hold this one in. No.
Okay, let's just move on, shall we? James, Zinny.
Yeah, so I saw a lot of stuff before the game about people going, "Oh, why are we getting sentimental giving him the armband before, Odegaard's the captain?" I was just like, "Oh, really?" I was like,
"What's wrong with people?
This guy, regardless of what's going on in the world, this guy is a leader for this team, and he showed it last week when he scored. Because I thought when he finally scores a goal for Arsenal, Zinchenko, he's going to go absolutely nuts. Remember the guy at Newcastle that took his shirt off and kicked the stand? I can't remember his name. I thought he was going to do something like that when he scores, but he went no.
Was it Ketspire?
That's it.
The Newcastle player, Kev.
He stripped himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they were trying to pull him back, and he's fighting the other people that are trying to take it. And the Newcastle players are like, "Come on, we need to get back." And he's punching them. He was mad.
He's been managing a team in Cyprus for years now.
Oh wow!
Yeah, he's he's an adopted son of Cyprus. Yes.
Yeah, but he gets the goal, and he's like, "It's only 2-2, and let's go we're going to win this game now."
Yeah.
It's not an equaliser. It's a push for us to win.
Do you remember when Giroud scored against, I think it was Everton, actually, to tie the game up after we were down 3-0, and he was busy doing his scorpion.
Oh, it was Bournemouth.
Bournemouth, yeah. Because it was the game after he had scored the scorpion kick against Palace. And instead of, 89th minute, instead of rushing the ball back to the center to take the kickoff, he's going out of the corner doing scorpion celebrations. I love me some Olivier Giroud, but that was a punk moment.
Sanchez was looking at him as if to be like, "Mate, I could kill you, right? I could kill you."
But that's only because Sanchez wants to win too much.
Yeah.
So, Kev, what did you think about Zinchenko? We're getting some sixes here, sevens, and that he gave the ball away cheaply again in this game. I didn't feel like in the first half, I thought he was dictating the entire game.
He was, again, a game of two halves, because what people have to realize is Leicester got battered in the first half, absolutely battered. We just needed that goal to cement our dominance. We did get it, it, but obviously it got taken away from us. Zinchenko was instrumental in the first half. Second half, we take the lead, and then Leicester are going to change. And that's going to make us change. So the dominance, he's not going to be able to dominate as much. He's going to have to do a lot more as a left back as opposed to a centre midfielder, which he played virtually all of the first half. So I don't think people realise the adjustments, in-game adjustments that has to happen. I thought Zinchenko was fine. I thought just on his first half performance alone, really put us on the front foot. I thought he was excellent. He was 8. Being captain of Arsenal sometimes could be a bit heavy for people. I thought he took the captaincy really well today. I thought he was excellent. And us dominating the ball against a team like Leicester, who we know can really hurt us, I thought was excellent. So I give him 8. So I know Tammy, I'm not taking it back, but I think you need to watch that first half again, because I think she gave him 6.5.
Yeah.
He really was special in the first.
Yeah,
he had one of our only chances in the second half as well. He cracked one. It was a good save, to be fair, but yeah, it was. At least he had the confidence
with the left
to actually,
foot.
the
left foot.
Exactly.
And
Good hype.
we've got Yanto giving him a 4 for the first half.
Nah. Did I miss something there?
Is that
I'm
4?
just gonna. I think
that must be 4 on a scale of 1 to 4.
Yeah, John Mavroudis is the one that's not to point out the Greek, but he's hitting it out of the park today with his comments. This is true. Zinchenko touches the ball so much that his mistakes stand out, but he's also the reason we're on the front foot so much. And in a team, Kev, you're willing for a player like that to make mistakes as long as they don't result into grave mistakes, right? I would say even Jorginho had a couple of errant passes today, but we'll get to him. Yeah.
It's because, Soph, let me just say this, because Zinchenko is trying to play progressive football. He's not trying to play crab football or just to keep it just for the sake of keeping it. He's trying to push us up the pitch. He's trying to make a difference. And when you do that, sometimes you have to take risks. Fans, listen, what's the point in having all the possession and going and getting beat? It makes no sense. So somebody has to take the onus to try and get us into really good positions in and around the box. And that's what Zinchenko does for us. Really does.
Yeah. He gets a 7.5 for me. Ratings from you, guys?
I'll give him 8.
I'll give him the same, Sophie. I'll give the same as you.
Okay. All right.
I'm giving him a 7.
You're giving him a 7. All right, Magic. Who's next? James?
And I'm giving 182 people in the chat right now who have not gone and given a thumbs up to this.
It's actually 327, mate.
Well,
how many likes, please?
Look,
Tammy, how many likes, love?
I'm scared to tell him.
We got 98 likes and 323 people. Yeah,
how much?
There's 225 people that haven't bothered yet.
Look,
if you don't like me coming on and off screen every 5 seconds because of my crap internet, then I mean, what else are you going to watch on?
Kev, I did warn them that if they don't get the likes up, that you will not be showing up for Monday Madness. Like, not at all. It's done.
And even worse, if they don't get the likes up, I will be showing up.
Well, there you go, Magic. You look, that's even worse. Squaddy.
Exactly.
Look at that.
All right. Man City have scored.
Especially with an Uki. With an Uki internet. Yeah.
Okay. Let's do James. How about we go here next? Do you reckon?
Yeah, the humble pizza pie is being served again. On the ball, this guy is fantastic. But off the ball, he still worries me. I've still got humongous concerns about him off the ball. But on the ball, oh my word. The pass to Saka in the first half.
Oh, split that defence.
Behave. Filth. Absolute filth. And do you know what? When you don't miss Thomas Partey, that's a credit to that guy. Because he's coming here, and I was one of them. I was hugely like, oh, why are we doing this? Very, very worried. But he has come in there, slotted in there. Players love him. Fans are already singing his name again. So happy days. Happy days. Yeah, he gets a 7 for me. He was solid in what he had to do.
Magic?
Yeah, I've got to agree with that. It's so nice hearing the away fans who were unbelievable in form today again. I don't know if during one of my absences we
do them at the end.
Okay, well, I mean, spoiler alert, they were fantastic. But it's, I mean, we know how a lot of people felt about the signing of Jorginho, and I'd just love to see him welcomed and embraced by the people who you really want to welcome and embrace somebody, which is the away supporters. But I mean, I would agree with James, and solid performance. Not a worry with Partey being on the bench and coming in. I mean, when you can bring Partey on as a sub and it just keeps the level.
That's what we've wanted. This is what we have been dreaming of, to have a squad.
Yeah.
And I'm not, and no one in their right mind is suggesting that he's the heir apparent to Thomas Partey, because that's not what we signed him for. We signed him to be the 1 and 1A with Partey, to not be as good as Partey, but to not be a drop off as though as we had when we didn't have Jorginho. And for the third straight game, he has been fine or better. And at this point, that's what we need, because we just need not to take such a step down when he's unable to play. And we're not taking a step down anymore. So 7.26912 for me.
All right, very nice. For me, Kev, I'm going to swing it back to you, because one of the things I love when I'm watching, I'm like, oh my God, this guy just keeps passing the ball forward. This is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. No sideways, no backwards. He gets the ball and bosh. You better be ready. And sometimes they're not ready, Kev. This is what we talk about a lot on our show, is the football brain, right? To give Mesut Ozil credit, for a while, he didn't have players who were on his plane, Santi, of course, and Alexis Sanchez when he came. And sometimes you just Odegaard, the same at the beginning. It's not that he's missing passes. It's players not reading the game properly to run into the positions that he's creating for them. I just love the way this geezer just continually throws the ball forward. Bosh.
Listen, there's been a lot of criticism. James said it. Magic said it. You say it, Soph. The guy knows how to play. He's a fine player. You could see on the ball, he is excellent. And it's just what we need, especially with Thomas Partey not playing. We need somebody there who could dictate. Getting Zinchenko in to join him as well has made it even better for him. All of a sudden, because he's got somebody else who can manipulate the ball, Zinchenko could go past him as well. So the defense stays off him. So he gets the ball. And you know what? I give him an 8. I'm giving him 1 point just for that ball to Saka alone. Because let me tell you, the spot, the execution of it was just special. And if we could get 1 or 2 of them a game, we're going to be in business. The guy's a damn fine player. And you know what? When Leicester adjusted and brought all those players on, although it was a little bit nervy just because we're 1-0 up, they didn't really have many chances, did they? We weren't overrun or anything in midfield. Like a lot of people say, I'll worry about him off the ball. Where you don't see anybody running off him, you don't see a lot of people doing anything. So he gets an 8 from me today. I thought it was good.
This came up, and by the way, the listener who said I'm a hypocrite about Jorginho, I don't quite know if you've been listening to the show, DS. Perhaps you missed the memo as I wrote to you, but if this show was 100% behind the signing of Jorginho. And sorry, I had to address that. Very important, because there's no negativity here right now. Everyone, the noise that's coming every now and again is from Mike's unicorn, so don't worry about that. I think that's what's happening there. All right, so we're done with Jorginho, right? He did well today. And the question yesterday came up on the show, and Kev, I think you were asked it on Monday, is do you drop Xhaka and play Jorginho with Thomas Partey? But Jorginho's role is not the Xhaka role now. So I keep it as it is. Why change it?
Hey, listen. Did we ever believe we would see Arsenal with a midfield, Jorginho holding, Xhaka on the left and Thomas Partey on the right? You know, that's a midfield to get stuck in and protect. Now we know we can do that if need be.
Yeah.
You know, we can do
really
that
great.
if need be. It's really good.
Yeah, very good. All right, James Johnston, who's next?
All right, I'm going to go for Xhaka. I'll do it that way. For me, first half, just like he has been the last couple of games, everything bouncing off him. it's not finally clicking. He had 2 there where Granit Xhaka a few years ago pulls the trigger in those situations, and he probably scores them as well. He probably scores both, but I don't know why. It was like he looked for the putt. You know, how he just wanted to go He wanted to go sideways. He didn't have it in him. I don't know what happened there. He was like he was confident in himself to whack that ball like I've seen him do before. And but second half, this is why I'll give him a 7. Second half, when it got cagey. He's very good at. He just turns himself, doesn't he, Kev, and wins those fouls. He's very good at drawing it and just slow. Yeah, just slow it down a bit. They're getting a bit dominant. Let's just cut. Yeah, he's brilliant at that. So yeah, I thought he was brilliant second half. So I'll give him a 7.
Yeah, Mike.
Can you hear me? Because I'm having all sorts of technical issues.
Yeah, I can hear you right now.
All right, good.
Bust it out before we lose you.
By the way, I wanted to give Ramsdale a 9 for this game earlier, but I was having internet issues, and the 9 was purely based on his save last year against Leicester on the free kick.
You're going back to Ramsdale, dude. We're on Xhaka.
I know that. I was just putting that in because I wanted to give him a 9 because his save last year at Leicester was so good. Xhaka's cooled off a little bit, but he's still a valuable part of what we're trying to do. He's still the engine. He's still a leader on the pitch and off the pitch, and so I'm probably giving him a 6.5 for this game because there was no huge faults from him. There was no huge. I mean, it was kind of an average game from Xhaka as far as I'm concerned. Does that mean that I would want to replace him with somebody else? No, but he did just well enough for me. So 6.5.
All right. I give him a 6.5 as well. I agree. Second half with James, I thought that when squeaky bum time was kind of squeaking in, Xhaka was there to kind of be, a defender of sorts in the middle of the park and helping his teammates at the back as well. So, he gets a 6.5 for me.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that as well. 6.5. I thought, like James said, Xhaka did get himself into some good positions.
He did.
First half, and no end product. Now, if we're going to be looking to be dominant for years to come, when we get players up from the midfield into that position, we've got to be a lot more ruthless. We have to. Didn't work out for Granit Xhaka today. James is right. We've seen Xhaka be a lot more, forward thinking and a lot more ruthless in those positions previously. But not today. But when Leicester adjusted, especially in the second half, when they adjusted, they met a wall in that midfield. And Xhaka is smart, won us free kicks, just slowed the game down, made sure he broke it up. Clever experience. I'll give him 6.5. Could do better going forward, but hey, we need the workhorse at the back as well. And he's definitely a grafter.
Excellent. Right. We'll move a little quicker through this front three. James, who you got next?
We still got Mr. Odegaard, Sophie.
Oh gosh, I forgot about Captain O. Yeah, sure.
And again, do you know what? Second half, it took this guy getting wound up for him to start playing because I thought he was not very good first half as well. A bit like last week. But when he gets angry and he comes alive, you have to pinch yourself. Because you can't believe that you're watching this guy in full flow. This guy can slam a revolving door. He's incredible. He can do everything. He can do anything and everything when he wants to. And you know what? He gets a 7 for me, but he's going to be so important in the next couple of weeks. He's only going to get better again. If he can go back to doing what he does for a full 90 instead of one half, then yeah, we're set because this guy's incredible.
Magic?
It's so hard to just pinpoint based on a 90 minutes. And I know the goal of these player ratings is meant to be to rate.
Some Lone Star thinks we're going too low on our ratings today. I think we're being fair.
Well, that's his problem.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know that the goal is, okay, how did he play today? And you should be critical. And if somebody plays less than average, they should be a 4, not a 7, not a 6, but a 4, which isn't it's not negative. It's not abusive. It's not whatever. Odegaard wasn't at his best today, but the things. I mean, you know that he is a massive part of what this team's trying to do, even if he is losing the ball. I mean, there was a point at which he just completely kind of flubbed an attack by getting the ball caught between his feet. And how often does that happen to him? Almost never.
I don't think he gets enough credit, though, for what he does off the ball. I think
that's
people
what
just want him to be this amazing player on the ball all the time with killer passes, breaking defenses, slicing them open. But I just don't think some fans see how hard he works when he doesn't have the ball.
So he's not Xavi. I'm sorry, but we don't need him to be either. And so for this game, I could give him a 6 or 6.5. But I mean that doesn't mean that I want to make any changes to his role in the next game, because we need him. You're going to have these dips and flows where a guy who's an 8 for the season might have a 5 or a 6 as a game. And when the rest of the team picks him up and when we win 1-0, you can get away with it. So, I'll give him a 6, which might be a bit low, but that doesn't mean I don't like the player.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Super Kev?
I give Odegaard a 7. I think a lot of people forget what we were doing in the first half. And I know it's a game of two halves, but first half, we were so dominant. If Trossard's goal goes in, I think this could have been 2 or 3.
The floodgates open.
Oh,
but
it was over at that point.
But Odegaard was quite influential with Zinchenko and Saka in that first half. So, again, I give him a 7. We know when things start to adjust, it starts to get a little bit more tight and defensive. And that's not Odegaard's game. We need to be on the front foot to get the best out of him up the pitch. But I thought he had a decent game. I thought 7 is about right for Odegaard. Didn't rip the trees up, but first half he was good. So
and also, guys, I think too that when you make an adjustment the way we did today, we're used to having like Jesus, of course, doing the pressing, and I put someone's comment up there, and Eddie. Without Eddie, now you've got 3 very attacking-minded players, up front. But of course, we know how hard they work tracking back, and I think Odegaard had a little bit more responsibility, maybe today. It seemed to protect just a little bit more, especially in that second half.
Am I the only one that has forgotten? Not forgotten, but like just gotten out of the habit of thinking of how much Gabby Jesus helps our team when he's in. I mean, it's been months, and I cannot believe what
Mike, you're the only one.
No, I'm not saying
Mike, you're the
about
only one who thinks like that. None of us ever think like that, Magic.
Kevin, what I'm saying is we are about to have something come back into our club that is going to absolutely change things for the better. I'm not discounting what he did. I'm just
put too much pressure yet because he's not back yet.
Well, he doesn't.
We know how good he is.
To me anyway.
But let's calm the jets a little bit, because you know what? He's been out a few months. Kick the rust off. Let's give him a little bit of time.
Yeah, it's impossible to do an hour show when Magic Mike's on, everyone. Just so you all know, it's never. I said at the beginning, like, we're going to get in and out on this one, and it never happens. Right? Who's next?
So we still can watch. We still can.
Okay.
Let's go.
All right, go on.
Right,
who's
goodbye,
next,
everyone.
James?
It's Mr. Saka. Let's do Mr. Saka. 7 for me today from the number 7. Again, not one of his best. However, he's still brilliant. And do you know what as well? I liked again that when he was getting little kicks and little tugs, he got angry again, like he did with Coutinho last week. He's starting to go, I've had enough of this. You leave me alone, because he knows the refs aren't going to help him. So he's doing it. He's trying to influence it. Yeah, brilliant player. And should have had a penalty, because he probably would have scored it as well. So we got robbed of 2 goals there because he'd have converted that penalty.
Yeah, I'll give him a 7, just because of, even when he's not having a great game, guys, I think that what he does, he takes so many players with him. They're so fearful of him. So it opens up a lot of spaces around him and for that front line. I just love what he means to us when he's not even hitting on all those cylinders. He still gets a 7 because he's become such a fearful play for the opposition. Kev?
Yeah, I give him a 7 as well. I think Saka is one of those players now that every team we play against have to account for. We have to account for, like you said, so when he gets the ball players are attracted over there because one-on-one, he beats anybody. And, when he cuts inside, he's so dangerous. So I give Saka a 7. Done a lot of work tracking back as well, especially second half. Fair play to him. He's willing to put the work in. So, hey, Saka, 7. And listen, we're clear, and we've got a midweek game. Let's wrap up.
Exactly. That's a little unfair, Taewo. Seriously. Think twice about that comment you just made. Mike, quick mark for Saka.
7.25. The play mostly came down the left-hand side today. We've seen it come down the right-hand side in other games, and he's been absolutely brilliant. So you don't notice it as much on a game like today, where we had the soon-to-be discussed Trossard and Martinelli. But yeah, I mean, but what you don't necessarily see, especially on television, is how much just the raw threat of Bukayo Saka opens up everything for everybody else. So it's hard to give him a 6 for what we saw of him on the ball when that wasn't the only impact that he had on the game. So I'll go 7.25, just because I want to be a little bit higher than you guys.
Of course. James Johnstone.
Oh, man of the match. Man of the match. What a signing. What a performance. Robbed of a goal, in my opinion.
Yep.
But he didn't put his head down. Didn't get angry about. Well, he probably is angry inside, but done his job. And you know what? At the start of that second half, you're thinking, oh, please get something. Got to get something quick because I hate how this is going. And then 50 seconds? It takes 50 seconds, and then you're like, whew, sigh of relief. Brilliant. 8.5 for him. I'm going to give him one more, because Marskuna told me they deserve to get one more. So, yeah, he was going to get a 7.5, but he gets an 8.5 for me.
That's diabolical.
Well played, Trossard. Well played.
So good. I love this player. We've wanted players to come in who can have an immediate impact. Premier League experience is key. He's the type of player too, so versatile, and he adds so much to our squad. Absolutely love him. Love how he's fitted in already, off and on the pitch. Beautiful stuff. 7.5 for me. Trossard, well done.
He's a 9. I mean, I look, he didn't play all 90 minutes today, but that wasn't his fault. If there was ever a 9, Trossard would be a 9 today. And the only reason I'm not giving him a 10 is because Josh told me not to.
Oh, okay.
Because he doesn't like Trossard, apparently. I just can't be more thrilled with this signing from a social standpoint, from a team standpoint, from his adaptability to play up top and not necessarily, change the way we have to play. We've signed players for their ability to play in 2 positions pretty much for 2 seasons now. And he's a guy that can play in the 9. I've been actually really, really curious to see what he would do in that position. Not that I've felt like Eddie's done anything necessarily to have him pulled out, but there's a lot of games in a short period of time. And I think this was the absolute right time to have Eddie come off the bench for Trossard instead of Eddie not having anyone to come in for him. So to me, he's a 9. He was part of everything that we did today. Should have scored a goal, got an assist. Love the guy. Hate his hair. 9.
8.5 for me. 8.5 for me. Trossard, I thought he had an excellent game. Robbed of a goal. You're right there, James. Decisive movement. Very good on the ball. We dominated first half. Second half, obviously, he drifts out wide and makes a decisive pass. That's the key. He gets the assist. 8.5 for him. And I thought he made a real difference to the way we played today. And, faded maybe a little bit in the second half because we weren't as dominant. And there was a lot more work to be done because Leicester adjusted. So he gets 8.5.
All right. So I had a low score then, according to everyone, 7.5. I just think there was room for improvement in the second half. This is why we love this show. Okay. Who is next, James?
Martinelli. So he gets again, due to I've got to give him one more than I should have given him. He gets an 8 because he scored the goal. But first half, Sophie, me and you were talking on the old WhatsApp.
I knew if we bitched enough that he would score.
He was just trying too hard. He was just trying.
He was.
And he had a few where he blasted. The one in the first half where I'm like, it was a cross come shot, and it just, I'm like, oh, I thought it was going to hit Harry Kane's penalty in the World Cup. You know, the balls were going to go across the sky together and meet up. But no, it's fine. You know, we know this guy's brilliant, and he's going to bail us out more than he's going to have poor games. Trust me. So, yeah, well played, Martinelli, and I'm glad he was all right. I thought he was done for. You know, I thought that was a big stamp on the knee. I thought, the more I watched it, the more I winced. I thought that's a bad one, but no, he got back up and carried on.
Yeah, but the stamp on the knee, you'd rather see that 10 times out of 10 than just a non-contact injury where he goes down and then is holding.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was very indecisive in the first half. He held onto the ball way too long. I was screaming at the television sometimes. But you know, a player like that, you know, he's going to stay in the game. He's not going to give up. And he's just going to keep doing his thing. And Bosch, like right at the, I don't know why I'm saying that today, by the way.
You said that like 9 times.
3 times.
You've been watching Big John.
Someone's counting. No, who's that?
Oh, Big John's the guy that says Bosch all the time on the internet. He's going viral. He's amazing. You got to watch him.
Okay.
Romford's finest.
I don't know why. Sorry, everyone. But yeah, I thought, okay, so maybe I'll bump Trossard to an 8 and I'll give Martinelli a 7.5 because I felt like he was really poor in the first half, but he was great in the second. Kev, what about you?
He gets a 9 for me. You know why?
Because he scored the
He
winning
gets a
goal.
9. You know, there you go. We needed somebody to step up. Strikers lot. It doesn't matter how you play poorly, but we needed the goal. And when that decisive moment came, he went through and he finished it off. Absolutely fantastic. Gives the travelling fans that 3 points, gives us that 3 points so we could come on and be smiling. Yes, he gets a 9. Man of the match for me, solely because he took the chance. The difference maker.
Strikers Union.
So if Trossard's goal had stood, who would have gotten the man of the match for you?
Oh, good question.
That's a great question.
No, Trossard. If Trossard scores and we win 1-0, of course Trossard gets it. That's why I had to be fair.
No, he doesn't get man of the match because of some bogus decision that the referee
Trossard
made.
gets 8.5. He gets 8.5. But Martinelli gets a 9 tonight because you know what? We needed them 3 points and we got them. Martinelli, the difference.
Love it. Brilliant stuff. Okay, what about the subs? Should we just do them all together? Start with you, James. Any one that stood out, or just everyone gets the same mark?
I'm giving Martinelli a 7.5 if everyone wants to know.
Oh, sorry, did I miss you?
It's all right.
For good reason, right. But yeah.
6s, I think, for the subs. I think 6s.
Yeah.
6s for the subs, and then that gives Magic 30 seconds to be able to tell us his Martinelli true score. Go on.
Well, Martinelli's a 5 for the first half, a 9 for the second half, and because of the Kevin Campbell bump for getting the winning goal, he's a 7.5 overall. He's having a crisis of confidence right now. For whatever reason, he's struggled the last few games, but for him to get that goal at the end of the game,
2 goals in 2 games, and he's struggling. I'll take that all day if you don't mind.
I think his mentality and his psyche is been a bit struggling, not poor. Struggling. I think he's had a bit of a confidence hit, maybe since Trossard was brought in.
He's still a young player learning. It's his first full season, Magic.
So I'm not criticizing him for that.
I never said you are. By the way, don't get so prickly. I never said you are. What I'm saying is he's still a young player. It's his first season. Finds himself dropped the other week. Trossard plays out there. Now he's playing with Trossard. He looked a little bit more like himself second half with that run. Proved to be the decisive action. So, listen, 7.5, whatever, all that's fine.
Oh, I think
not a problem.
I think it's great news that my internet's out.
Oh, just in time. Just in time.
He's
okay.
lucky we let him back in.
So it's 6s.
No.
Eddie, thank you for wearing the shirt today and coming on. Thomas, thank you for wearing the shirt today and coming on. Tommy number 2, thank you. Yep. And I was really hoping Tierney would get a shot to come on today, everyone, because I really wanted to use this picture from Gunner Balls. I just love it. And it didn't happen. So there you go. But it's fun anyway. It's a good one. It's an absolute good one. Magic, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. What was that, your last point there?
Just that Martinelli is at a point where I think these goals in the last couple of games have been so good for him, and I think that they're going to break him out of whatever the last few games have caused. So I love the player, and I want him to continue to play, and having Trossard in the 9 allows them not to be interchangeable. So and my internet clearly did not enjoy being criticized by Super Kev. I can take it.
This is the second time he's broken your neck on this show.
No, he broke my neck for very good reason.
By the way, listen, Magic, if you think that's breaking the neck, oh my God.
I didn't say that. Sophie said that.
I'm just saying, if you think I'm being harsh with you.
Oh, no. No, I don't think you're being harsh. No.
It's broke the neck. The neck tonight.
No, my neck is fine.
We do love Magic. He's the best. Right. Okay. What does the gaffer get? What about the good old gaffer of the Arsenal Football Club, Mr. Mikel Arteta? There you go. An older picture where he's blowing kisses to the fans who have grown to love him, Sophie. Shushing the opposition. Beautiful stuff, Kev. He gets a 3.
Sophie, there's 3 points to be made today. There's 3 points to be made today. One was the adjustment he made with the team to start playing Trossard and Martinelli. Fair enough. 2 was clean sheet. And 3 was taking the 3 points away from Leicester. Excellent. Had to make the adjustments, had to bring subs on, blah, blah, blah. We got the 3 points. We got the clean sheet. And the team wins again. And we stretched our lead at the top. City are 2-0 up right now. But we expect them to beat Bournemouth. So I give the manager a solid 8.5 today, Soph.
Okay. Just for those who are alarmed that Super Kev was giving Arteta 3, he was not. He built up to the final mark. Magic, well, let's get yours and then we'll end with James's mark on the gaffer.
I'm going to give him a 9. I think, assuming this was his decision, and obviously whose else would it be, placing Zinchenko in as captain was an absolute class move. I think when I saw that, I actually expected the team to come out and play like this was an FA Cup final or a Champions League final, just out of the love that they have for Zinchenko. And it's those little things.
Just kidding. Go on.
Magic, don't get stage fright. Come on.
I'm not getting stage fright. I was letting that moment.
Then. God, talk.
I don't know if she was telling me to wrap up or if she was just dancing.
We're doing the from last week.
But yeah, no. Arteta, I think is he's carrying the team through a bit of a wobble, and he's coming out on the other side of it looking beautiful. So yeah, I'll give him a 9 for this one.
Yeah, Lone Star's really upset with our marks today. Sorry, Lone Star. Yeah, here's a shocker for everyone. You ready, James? Go on, you first.
Yeah, big 10s. Big 10s for Mikel. That's it. Don't need to say anything else. Yeah. We're pressed for time. Big 10s.
So for me, Mikel Arteta is the man of the match today. There you go. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it to the folks that still think I'm anti-Arteta. He earns his crust.
Why gotta be so positive?
He earned his crust in the Villa game. This is where he earns his crust. Always be closing. But what he did today, he took a calculated risk, not because those players haven't played in those positions before, but you know what? He recognized he rested Eddie or benched Eddie. Look at it however you want, Kev. Freshened it up. So for me, Mikel Arteta gets a 10. Absolute 10. You know why? Because I just think that performance in the first half is going to go amiss because of the fact that we didn't thump them 4-0 and because of the second. But that first half, with the adjustments that he made, was beautiful to watch. I loved watching that first half. I put that first half up there with the performance against Tottenham, the performance against Liverpool. I put it up there with some of our biggest performances this season. And Leicester had kind of been crawling back a little bit. They got humbled by United, but let's be honest, they could have been 2-0 up against United last week, Kev. So for me, Mikel Arteta is the man of the match. I thought he was masterful today.
Well, fantastic. What about the fan base? Who were outstanding in, and Matt should go first on this.
Magic should go first on this. Go on, Magic.
Come on, then.
They're absolutely brilliant. I was fortunate enough to be at last year's game at Leicester, and it was one of the best experiences of my Arsenal fandom. Just I mean, continuing on a year where things were improving, to be part of that fan base for a game like Leicester, 3-1 to the Arsenal. It was amazing. Gutted to not be there today, but you could hear those guys, those ladies and gentlemen. You could hear them. They were chanting for Jorginho. They were chanting for Xhaka. They were chanting for everybody, and they were overtaking the entire stadium. You just can't say enough how much our away supporters and, frankly, our home supporters for the vast majority of our games are impacting the play. I used to not believe it. I used to think that the players should be able to do whatever they're doing regardless, in spite of or regardless of supporters playing. And we will never really, truly understand how much COVID and those empty stadiums actually affected some teams. But I will go to my grave saying they affected us more than most, because what we have now is a 12th man.
I'm not sure that we were in a position to be that happy about things at that time.
Well, no.
I don't think we had the players yet to make that COVID statement.
We didn't. But my point is that without any kind of support from players, I think that it exacerbated the issue of having a team that wasn't quite over the hump yet. Now we've seen how important supporters are. Not that it wasn't obvious before. We obviously
they've always been important.
They've
always
always been
about the fans. It's and everyone suffered during COVID. I don't buy the COVID argument at all.
Okay, well, but
I mean,
my point is what we're seeing from them now, I think, is a legitimate. It's moving the needle on our play, and that's something that I think a lot of people who have just maybe been watching for the last 10 or 15 years are seeing for the first time. That we actually have an advantage because of the way our supporters are, and especially away from home now.
Yeah, that hasn't happened in a very, very, very long time. James, mark for the fans.
Yeah, someone else put it in the comments, but as much as I love my football, I love my films. And I saw Spinal Tap the other day. I always watch it when it's on because I think it's a great movie. And yeah, we went to 11. They get 11, the fans today.
Nice, very good, very good.
Have you seen the video before the game of the concourse with the flaring? Look like Printworks, the raves. You can't see; it's just noise and hands. It's incredible. It was absolutely brilliant. And they have the clappers to make an atmosphere. You can't even hear the clappers. So
I love it. I loved it. And yes, of course he can. We're just banter. Come on, we're just we're friends here. We're just having banter.
Why are you shutting me down so much, man?
Don't tase me, Soph. Don't tase me.
Don't tase me, bro.
Super Kev, you've been loved and lauded by the fans. I think that they've been brilliant. And, at home, the last couple games I was at, the stress crept in the Man United game in that first half. I think, Mike, you would agree, was a little quiet at the Emirates.
Good.
Our away fans, never quiet.
We've got to get used to it again, haven't we?
Yeah,
That's the key.
yeah.
We've got to get used to it again. Where there's a lot riding on it, and we've got to get across the line. We've got to go through the quicksand sometimes, got to go through the trenches. The fans have been incredible. 10 out of 10 for me. You could say 11. You could go whatever, 10 plus, whatever. The fans have been superb. And you know what? It really does make a difference to the players when they know that the fans are behind them. It does. It makes them run the yard harder. It makes them, put their heads in where it hurts to get that win. I can't wait to watch the videos of the players celebrating with the fans now. When I get off there, I'm going to be on social media. I'm going to look for that because I love seeing that. So,
I mean, you felt an extra. I mean, would there just be a reserve of energy when the fans started going nuts towards you in a positive way that you felt?
Of course, 100%.
I mean, I see that as visualizing it and watching the game and seeing how they respond to it. But I mean, you felt that. I can't even imagine what that feels like. I've never had anyone cheer for me.
And winning away, home or away, and the fans are with you. There's no better feeling for a footballer. None better. Winning games with the fans behind you.
I mean, it's just a totally different vibe and feeling. And, with the COVID thing real quick, just to go back to what Mike was saying, I think Mikel Arteta was our fan. I thought actually he handled that brilliantly. The water breaks and everything. I think it helped us actually. And someone said it in chat, and I totally agree with them, that he managed that so well that it helped bring the team closer. He managed those breaks really well, and I thought it really helped up. But you can't replace what's happening now. I mean,
but he got battered for it. Do you remember?
Yeah.
but again, that's sometimes you make the most progress when people don't see what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Until now, where we're getting the results, etc. But good observation, so it does stem from back then. It does. Putting in all the checks and balances for the players. So there's no easy way out. This is the way it's done. So fair play. Arsenal are doing things right. Back to the top of the league.
Bosh.
Brilliant.
Couldn't help it. Well, listen, we are going to be back on Monday night for a little Monday madness. You're not going to want to miss that. And also, we didn't get Kev's thoughts on Saka because he wasn't on the show the other day. So there's going to be a lot to cover on Monday's show. So you're not going to want to miss that, people. Mr. Magic Mike, are you doing a show right after us here? Tell everyone where they can go.
We are not doing a show right after you because Comcast probably won't let me. So we're done for the day. I'm going to enjoy some time with my families and my in-laws, my two different families that I keep away from each other. Well, I'm sure we'll be doing a show this week on the Gooners Pod, and Soph, as always, and Kev, as always. I absolutely love both of you, and I appreciate your patience with the complete lack of professionalism that was hoisted upon me today.
Mike, you are a diamond. All right, we love you no matter what.
Magic Mike.
Okay.
And James, good Shabbos to you. Thanks for joining me on Shabbos.
James, let everyone know where they can find you, babe.
Just LL Cool James 91 on Twitter. Just you can find me there. Everything's there. I'm not hard to find. I quite stand out with this hair and beard. So
lovely. And after this successful show yesterday, you'll be seeing Josh and James back for a little tactical squad stuff between now and the end of the season.
Can you just do a show where Josh
has
to answer to his opinion about Trossard and just for an hour?
We'll do that. We'll do that.
You need to get Tammy and Josh together. We need to see. This is box office.
Tammy smashed him up today. Don't worry about that.
I know. I think Tammy took your Stone Island from last night, Kevin.
You know what I
mean? How many people's asses did you kick in that jacket, in that hat last night?
We love you guys very much. Thanks so much for joining, and everyone in chat. Great comments, good banter. Thanks to our guests, of course. Not guests, really. They're just part of the furniture. Super Kevin Campbell. I'm going to let you take us out as per.
Listen, squaddies, let me tell you something. Magic Mike, LL Cool James, and Super Sophie, and all of you. We're still top. 2 away games we had, 1 at Villa, potential banana skin, 1 today, Leicester away, and we come through with 6 points. Let's keep supporting the boys. Enjoy your weekend. Love your family. Other hand, Mike. Magic, other hand, mate.
Bad night for you, Mike.
Make it uniform, mate. Make it uniform. And listen, squaddies, we love you. And we'll see you very soon. Take it easy and at ease, squaddies. At ease.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.